I'll tell you how I celebrate the holidays is I'm usually somewhere else. And that sounds great, you know, like, hey, we went off to Switzerland for the holidays. It's never like that. It's always to families' houses. For some reason, we established it early on that we were going to bring the grandkids to them. And that never ended after that. Once you set that precedent, no one comes to you anymore. And so we always seem like we're going to somebody else's house, to the point where my kids now complain that, why can't we ever just be at home on Christmas opening presents here? They like the family, but they also like to be at home, you know, like in the comfy clothes and all that. Anybody else experience that?
Take it away.
Okay.
What do you do on the holidays?
Our holidays are pretty predictable. We usually have a large family dinner. Everyone at their homes, they do the Christmas gifts opening, but then at the in the afternoon we all meet at this year's, well, we all meet at my cousin's house. My mom used to really love hosting Christmas. Now my cousin, she does it, but my mom and my aunt, they always cook everything. We all take it over there, and about 30 to 40 family members and friends usually come around.
That's a lot.
Oh my God,
we
that's
eat a whole lot.
Wait, Damon, and I know this because we talked about this. Where is most of the family from?
Most of the family's from Baltimore.
Okay, so in Baltimore, this is a big thing apparently. What do they have for the big holidays that's special, extra special, that you don't usually get on other days, meat-wise?
Okay, so typically our Thanksgiving dinner includes ham, turkey, and brisket. Some people in Texas may find that kind of weird, but it's not something that we get in abundance over on the East Coast. You think of East Coast, you think of seafood, but for us, having a big brisket cooked like a roast, it's not smoked or anything, it's cooked like a roast. We look forward to that every holiday, every Thanksgiving, and every Christmas. So I'm looking forward to roast, well, brisket when I go home, but that's one thing. I tell you, when I came to Texas, and I knew that they had brisket almost everywhere on every corner, I ate it so much I got sick of it. So I can only do brisket now on the holidays, just because I need to like wean myself off of it.
And imagine brisket cooked as roast.
Yeah, you know, and they make it with an onion soup mix, so it gives it a lot of flavor too. You don't find it like that here in Dallas.
Well, like ham and turkey on top of that, like I can't imagine how full you are after that meal.
Yeah, and not only that, you know, we have a whole heap of sides, different sides. Now it's funny because we don't do all that green bean casserole or anything like that. It's typically collard greens, sauerkraut, sweet potatoes. Sometimes there may be a potato salad. We'll have mashed potatoes. Of course, you have to have macaroni and cheese. And then my family is a family that loves to bake, so we have sweet potato pie. I brought in a hummingbird cake I made for the first time. That was one of my grandmother and my aunt's specialties. My mom and my aunt learned how to make it, and then I started dabbling with it this year.
Hummingbird cake sounds extremely
I want
sweet.
to go to your.
Can we come? Yeah, we're going to your house next time.
Oh, yeah,
My stomach's just growling right now listening to this. It sounds amazing. And the mac and cheese, I'm guessing, is not out of a box. Ever.
It is not out of a box. If you bring a box of macaroni and cheese, you'll probably get thrown out.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah.
Okay, I will not be welcome because the Persing family does boxed mac and cheese.
Uh-oh.
But you know, it's just efficient. It's just efficient. We've got a small family. You know, we roll with it. But your mac and cheese sounds a lot nicer.
Are there any other kind of like food, specialty foods that you guys have during the holiday?
So when Hanukkah rolls around, I make a mean latke, and I'll bring some to work.
And we will hold you to that because we have video evidence.
I'll bring some to Channel 8.
You told the whole world.
I know, recording. So I make a really good latke on Hanukkah. Thanksgiving, my brother and I are both vegetarians, so we do like a lot of the mac and cheese out of the box, mashed potatoes, things like that.
Have you ever done tofurkey?
I have never done tofurkey, and I think most of our viewers will call the station to kick me off TV if I do tofurkey on Thanksgiving. No tofurkey for us, and every holiday includes lots of wine in the Persing household.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
No judgment.
Thank you.
So Christmas or the holidays as a kid is very different than holidays with kids.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Like our holidays with kids, we have 3 little ones. So Christmas morning starts at like 4:30 in the morning because they're up,
Jumping on the bed,
jumping
waking
on
you
the
up.
bed saying,
4:30.
"Oh yeah," and that's being conservative
goodness.
because they want to rip into presents and all that other stuff. But first we do stockings, right? And after stockings, then it's cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls every Christmas morning. Cinnamon rolls and hot cocoa.
That's a good tradition.
Yeah.
So the kids who woke up and were like off the rails energy-wise are still off the rails energy-wise.
Let's make it
later on
worse.
with all that sugar.
Exactly. So then after we eat, after stockings, after we eat, then we get into our presents. So that's really one of the main traditions you have.
So you make them wait.
When do they
Yes.
crash? When's the sugar crash?
Oh, they don't crash. That whole day is just one fun-filled, day for them, and they know it. So they start early, and they usually end by like 10 o'clock.
So what got me there is you start Christmas in your own home. You didn't make that mistake early on of saying, okay, we'll come to everybody and we'll alternate years.
I can't do that. And well, first of all, my wife is so regimented that she wants things a very specific way. Even the way the house is decorated, all the way down to how we open presents, it's very regimented, and I'm cool with it because I'm pretty laid back, right? We just have very different personalities. So she has things a very specific way, and she's like, by 2 o'clock we're eating our Christmas lunch, and then usually it's ham. Usually there's a lot of like English dishes in there too. We'll do crackers. Have you guys heard of crackers? Where you pull like a device
Yes,
out?
I've seen
Wait,
that.
what is
Yes.
It's an English tradition where it's like usually there's candy stuffed inside like plastic.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
You pull it and it opens up.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and there's candy inside or like little comics inside, and the kids.
What, but English dishes, you guys are having like bangers and mash for Christmas or what?
I don't know a lot of them, but I know my wife does it, and there's always an Indian dish. There's always something Indian.
I love that.
So like dosa and chicken curry or something like that.
Sounds
So-
good.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting because as far as Christmas, our Christmas tradition actually starts on Christmas Eve. We are Catholic and we go to Mass on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So typically, as many family members as possible, we'll meet at our family church and enjoy a Christmas Eve vigil Mass with the kids.
Yeah, we do midnight mass a lot. You're into the midnight mass?
So we don't do midnight Mass
Okay.
anymore because of the kids.
Yeah.
They have like a children's Mass. It's more like a Christmas vigil. And that's where they act out the nativity.
And even before that, even before we get to that point, it usually happens that just after Thanksgiving, maybe several days or a week after Thanksgiving, we get the Christmas tree, okay? But before we get it, we always have to make sure that it is the worst, rainiest, nastiest, coldest possible day to be out there walking around looking for one, then putting it on the roof of the SUV, and then driving it home and trying to get it down and get it out, and it's drenched every time. Every single time it happens that way. I try to not make it that way, and every year the same exact thing happens. And then a couple of days after that, I will resolve to put up the lights around the outside of the house, and it is always the worst, most frigid, almost icy day, and I'm out there just freezing to death the whole day, and it takes forever because nobody helps me.
I was about to say, you say I a lot.
No
Oh,
help.
yes.
No
You
help.
don't get help when it's a day like that,
Okay,
and
okay.
it's always a day like
Do
that.
your kids like getting the tree in the rain? Is it fun for them?
Everybody insists, like, let's go do it today, let's go. It's very impulsive, even though we tried to plan it in advance. It's very impulsive, and it's always on the worst day. And then the putting up the decorations outside, the kids are always like, we're gonna help you, we're gonna help you. And
they
I'm
don't.
always out there alone, seeing my own breath in that really cold air as the rain's coming down, and I have to just keep telling myself, just get through it. It's gonna look really good. It's gonna look really good. And hours later, it looks really good.
It's funny.
Yeah.
This was me 2 days ago.
Oh,
in
I'm
the
glad
frigid
to be
cold,
not the only
putting
one.
up lights
Alone?
Alone. Kids say they'll help, but they're really just playing in the backyard. But our Christmas tree experience is an every year thing. We have to cut down our own tree.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
This year, we decided to get a 12-foot tree.
Oh, my.
Oh, uh-oh.
Where are you
It
going
is
for this?
Massive. So there's a place out near Greenville.
Wow.
And we didn't have to cut this one down.
I was
It
gonna
it was
say.
It was shipped, well, because of the scarcity in trees.
Yeah.
They've been bringing all these trees in from North Carolina and the Pacific Northwest.
Your story, the drought. I remember.
Right.
I remember.
That's right. And so they had a 12-foot tree, and it is gorgeous.
Nice.
Oh,
Absolutely gorgeous. So
Are
we
your
put
kids
it-
super excited?
There's probably 100 ornaments on there. not kidding.
Real quick question there. When you cut down your own tree, what do you take with you to do that?
Usually those places have
Okay.
little hand saws.
Many, many years ago, I went with my then girlfriend before she became my wife, and we were going to go get our trees and cut them down, and it was in the Gila forest, but they have a program there. I wasn't like taking trees illegally. They have a program there where you can come out and do that. And so we go out there, we get there, it's very desolate, there's no one around, and we find some trees and we go, perfect. And then I open the trunk and realize I didn't bring a saw, an axe, and anything to take down these trees. And I had a pipe in there. I don't know why I had a lead pipe in my trunk, but I had a lead pipe in my trunk, and I bludgeoned those 2 trees down.
They came down?
Well, I got enough of the stump down there. I got enough of it, sort of whittled away, that then I could hug it and twist it and fall with it until I got both of them down.
See, that's too much work.
That's a
It
lot
was
of work.
too much work.
That's
It
a
was
lot of
terrible.
I've been a bachelor a lot of years. So for me, even putting up a Christmas tree was just too much work. I enjoyed watching other people's decorations or
like
enjoying
that.
Christmas with them. I appreciate all that work that you guys are putting into decorating, but me, I don't have the time or patience. I'll tell you this, my mother had to make me promise to put up a Christmas tree every year. And what I would do is take a small tabletop Christmas tree, put it up there, send her a photo. Hey, Mom, fulfill my promise.
No, and
Yeah.
that's cheating.
I think it's sweet.
Look,
Wait, when you took the photo though, did you take it showing the table too, or did you get all close to where it could be a 6-foot tree?
I was very intentional in letting her know it was a tabletop,
Good.
already decorated, didn't have to do much work.
Okay, so that's
But then I
honest.
grew up a little bit and realized that it's not that much work. So actually, a couple of years ago at Dollar General, one of the local ones was going out of business, so they had a major liquidation sale. I got a 6-foot artificial tree for like $5.
That's a deal.
And I improved upon the decorations, the bulbs and everything. So every other year, I'll put up the Christmas tree.
And this is an odd year, so you're not doing it this
You
year?
know, I'll tell you this is the first year without my mother. So the traditions for me have kind of like hit a new perspective.
Yeah.
My mother was really one who was so passionate about the holidays, and now it's going to be interesting for me. I want to do some things to kind of like savor the memories a little bit, but I got to tell you, this holiday season has been a little challenging. It's been tough.
That's interesting. So you're torn, kind of like, do I do this so that I can fully embrace the memory of Mom, or is it too hard for me to do this yet?
Yeah. You still have a few days or a few weeks to decide, but Thanksgiving was really challenging. I spent it alone, and I know that was a holiday that was really special to her. And my mother helped shape and create the holidays for us. So with her not being here only in memory this year, it's a different dynamic. And I think I am observing what other families are doing and finding pleasure in recognizing their traditions. So,
But also, it's also a time for us to be thankful for the times we did have with people who were close to us, right? So I hope you have that.
yeah, oh, for sure. Tons of memories, tons of good memories, and she left a great legacy, especially when it comes around the holidays. So, some of my coworkers got a chance to savor a little bit of that. I brought in one of her favorite cakes the other day, and so that was special to me.
We lost my dad 2 Thanksgivings ago. Well, not on Thanksgiving. This was our second Thanksgiving without my dad. And it's a hard balance because you don't want to not celebrate the memories, but it's so different when there's an empty seat. This Thanksgiving we did, we just went through old pictures, like childhood photos, and I felt that was a really nice way to like include the memories, but also kind of start new traditions as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, for me, the holidays are all about family, and even with changing dynamics of family, we still find ways to make it fun.
I won't complain anymore about having to drive to see family now. Honestly, I mean, it's perspective. That's good perspective, and I'll tell the kids that too, because it is all about family. It's not all just about tearing into gifts and eating special things or whatever. That's part of it, but it's about family.
Yeah. So interesting because like, as you're growing up, as a kid, you recognize certain things. You had certain traditions. When you go to someone's house, you expect to get that big gift and you have the fun with your family sitting all around. But as you get older, it's like fewer gifts come your way.
Oh, yeah, you get one. You gave like 14 and you get one.
I used to get 8 presents on Hanukkah. I get 0.
Oh my
Mom. She gives lots of other nice gifts. So, but it does
Man.
change.
Yeah.
It does change with years.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys this about gift giving because one of the things that we're going to talk about is things that you don't do, or you wonder if what you do is strange compared to what other people are doing. And so my wife's family, when we spend Christmas with them, and it's a lovely tradition. It takes a lot of getting used to, though, for me, because we were the family growing up that just, I mean, everybody, it was like, you know, a disaster. Everybody, I mean, you just see wrapping paper flying everywhere, and everybody's opening their individual things and like getting excited about it, but you are not, like, no one else in that room exists because you're opening your stuff, right? My wife's family, and I mean, they are religious about this. Everybody's in a room, you know, in a big, huge circle, and you have all of your gifts there, and you open one at a time, and then it's the next person's turn, and the next person, and the next person, and you're like ready to open your next one, but you've got to wait until it comes all the way back around to you again. And some of the people, they open it like, you know, one piece of tape coming off, and then another piece of tape coming off, and you're like, do you need help with that? You know, do other people open gifts that way? I never experienced that growing up.
We go one by one. Right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure everyone gets their time to shine, right? And we get it. Everyone gets at least 5 minutes to at least enjoy what they've opened. That way, the gift giver also gets the moment to see that reaction, right? So we'll start off with our oldest child, then our second, and then our third, and then we'll work it around. Usually, the kids get way more gifts than we do.
Yeah.
I don't even give, like, I'll be honest, and I'm putting this out into the world. Like, as a couple, we don't really give each other gifts. Like, we'll probably spend a lot of money, some money just on the stockings. But for the most part, like, really gift giving, when we can give each other gifts literally the entire year.
Because it's about the kids too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about the moment, and it's about the opening of the presents. And if there's one thing that I want to impart to people is, it's not what's in the box or in the wrapping paper. It's what they remember, what kids will remember, and what we all remember is how we felt opening those things, right? And that's ultimately what it comes down to.
You're totally right.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because the older I get, the less eager I was to receive gifts. I often told my family, you know, don't get me any gifts. Because I live so far away, you kind of feel a little guilty. For me, Christmas and the holidays is all about seeing and spending time with my family. So that's gift enough for me. I'm quite surprised when I do get a gift. My mother always makes sure that I got something, and for her, her classic gift to me was a tie. She liked to see me in bright ties and shirts, so I would always play a trick on her every year. Because I visit home a lot, I would hide her gifts in advance at home. She wouldn't know where the gifts were, so if I didn't come home that day but had to come home a few days later, all I had to do was just call her and say, hey, did you find your gift yet?
Wow.
What?
So sweet.
And she'd just look around and find it. Or I'd play a trick on her because my mother would tell me she just wants peace and contentment. That was her gift. I'm like, okay, sure.
Good luck.
Until you realize well into the day she didn't get anything. I'm waiting and watching her reaction. And so I'll come out and surprise her. Usually got her like a handbag, and you can't give a woman a handbag without putting some money in there. So I would always bless her with some cash and just other gifts that she'd like too. I'm a listener, so I listen to people a lot, and they give me little indicators throughout the year as to what they need or may want. And I usually surprise my folks with gifts that I've listened, and that makes it a little special.
So what is the best gift everyone's ever received?
Peace and contentment.
Man, this is gonna sound cheesy, but it's real, right? Like, any gift, there's no gift better than the children who were around the Christmas tree that morning.
Totally agree.
You know, those are our best gifts.
I feel kind of guilty about it when you say, what's the best gift you've ever received? I'm really bad at naming best of things, like best movie, best song, favorite whatever, and I can never seem to name someone or something, but when I hear best gift, like nothing comes to mind. And I think that the reason it doesn't is because the stuff really doesn't matter. And it sounds rude because people are giving me these gifts, you know, I should be remembering all of them, but it's not what's in the box.
I say that, okay, but yeah, I digress, but I will say the one that I most remember is I'm like 8, 9 years old, and you know, I have Indian parents, so they're not really into the gift giving deal, but for the first time they bought us a Nintendo.
Oh,
okay?
that's huge.
And they bought us a Ninja Turtles video game, which we played until it didn't work.
So they regretted all of that.
And so that's the one thing that's one gift I will forever remember.
That's a memorable one.
Yeah.
For me, if I had to pick out a gift that I remember most, outside of the Nintendo, ColecoVision, Atari 2600, the year
You're
that I
dating
got,
yourself right now.
Atari was no. Don't sleep on Atari. Atari was good.
and guess what? I still have it.
Does it
What?
still work?
I don't know.
Oh,
it's in the basement.
man.
So in the basement in Baltimore.
Keep it.
Yeah. But for me, if I had to pick out the most memorable gift, I nagged my mom so much about a keyboard. And one Christmas, I remember a keyboard was under the tree, and I was just excited as I don't know what. Didn't know how to play it, but I sure did learn. I at least learned one song that day. But that was the most memorable gift because I think I nagged my mom for it so much.
So you're going to play something for us when we have the latkes that she
he's
brings.
A fantastic,
Okay.
He's a fantastic singer.
I've got to hear
All of us
this.
are just gonna like loop up together up in the newsroom.
We are not singing.
Latkes, keyboard, everything like.
We're gonna have
four of them.
we're gonna have a new tradition for the holidays.
There we go.
Wait, so what was your best gift?
Oh, probably my best gift, the Hanukkah before my grandfather passed. He gave me a pair of shoes. I didn't know he knew I wanted them. And I just remember seeing the look on his face when he saw how happy I was and how surprised I was. And I actually remember thinking that Hanukkah, like, and he was very healthy at the time, but I remember thinking then, you know, when he passes, like, these are the moments I'll remember how, like, grateful I was to be with him, how much it meant to him to see me happy. And he had an accident a couple weeks later, but it was just such a special moment. I have the shoes that look like this, but silver.
Wow.
Sparkly, good for the holidays. So that's my favorite.
He would love to know that you still remember it like that
You
too.
know, it's weird, like around the holiday times, there are just those small moments that for some reason stay etched in your brain that you'll remember all those years later, and they're kind of insignificant at the time, but you remember them forever.
And you know what? I bet you guys take inventory this year. It's less the reaction on the children's faces, but if you watch the reaction of the adults
That's what
as
I'm
they're
saying.
opening things,
Yeah.
that's going to speak volumes and probably set the tone for holidays to come.
Yeah, we live vicariously through the kids. We really do. You know, I want to know, because you talked about how people, when you tell them, I don't want anything, I don't need anything, whatever, they never honor that. Like, I tell people that every year. They get mad at me because they think it's like me being lazy, like I just don't want to think of what to tell them. And I really, like, I rack my brains and I think there's nothing that I really, really need. My needs are met. Of course, there's some things I want, but I can buy a thing that I want. And so I'll tell them, okay, if you must get me something, donate it to a charity in my name. Just do that. I'm not going to do that. And it's like, why will you not do that? That is a great thing. It would make me feel good. It would make you feel good. It would actually help somebody to have something they need or want, because I don't need or want things.
Yeah.
But they won't do it.
It's an interesting game because when we say, you know what, don't worry about me, I'm fine, that person is worried about you, and that expression of a gift makes them think that, you know, it's an expression of them saying that you're special. And we just see it all different ways. Everybody wants to feel special, and I'm like, you know, you don't have to overextend yourself to make me feel happy during the holidays. Just, you know, your friendship, I'm blessed by relationships, that speaks volumes.
So we're Jewish, we don't celebrate Christmas, but I'm forever grateful to our next door neighbors, the Yuskos, who invited us over every Christmas. And they always had, don't know why, sour Skittles for me. And so whenever I see sour Skittles, I'm like, Christmas. But it was so fun to get to do Christmas with them, and we'd invite them over for Hanukkah every year as well. So Hanukkah, like I said, latkes, if you've never had a latke, magical experience. We light the menorah, obviously, on Hanukkah. And I think for me, it was just so fun. Like, it's the 8 night of presents. Kids get excited about doing that. But just for 8 nights in a row, getting to celebrate with your family and come together and light the menorah and eat the latkes and eat the gelt, that's the chocolate, the best. To be able to do that for 8 nights as a kid was just so special.
You know, being Indian American, so growing up, everything revolved around the church, and it still does, right? It started with church service. And when I was growing up, church would start Sunday morning, or Christmas morning, and we wouldn't come back until like 3 or 4 o'clock. So we were exhausted after church.
Wow.
And then we get to open presents. But now that I have kids, and usually our services are moved up, or usually Christmas Eve, like we have the chance to sort of like settle down and actually have a Christmas morning, right? But in terms of tradition, like cultural traditions, we always used to have Indian food, always, on top of your normal holiday staples, right? The ham. And so it's just really awesome, especially when your dad's a priest, right? And everything revolves around the church. It's Christ is born is the priority, and then you come home and then you celebrate with family. That's the way we see it.
When I think about my holiday traditions, our holiday traditions typically focused around faith, food, and family. Whether it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, or even the New Year, there was always a church service involved, followed by a big feast. So I already explained to you what our Christmas feast included, but right after Christmas, family now starts to celebrate Kwanzaa. So every day after Christmas, for those of us who recognize Kwanzaa, we'll give gifts, go to events, just to represent and recognize that particular holiday, leading up to the New Year. Now, for our family in the traditional New Year's celebrations, I see the ladies in my family cooking a big pot of collard greens, a big pot of black-eyed peas, and a big sheet of cornbread. I really don't like cornbread, but there are certain meanings behind each food.
Are the greens money?
The greens are money.
Because they do cabbage here in Texas for that.
Yeah,
but
greens are money.
Work too.
The greens are money. The black-eyed peas are for good luck. The cornbread is for another sign of money or good luck or happiness.
And to sop up all that other goodness.
To sop up all the goodness. And also you had some kind of pork meat, ham, pig's feet, some kind of pork dish, ribs too, but that was also for good luck. And that was something traditionally that would happen in our family. Ever since I was a little kid, didn't have a New Year's celebration without those main staples.
Mine was kind of a mixed bag because I was the product of a divorce, and so from very early on. And so we would usually celebrate on Christmas Eve in my household, and everybody would go crazy opening all their gifts and the papers flying and all that. And then the next day we would, maybe open one or two more that came from Santa Claus, overnight. And then we would go to the different families. So you had two sides of the family you had to go to. In a way, it was kind of nice because you're having like multiple Christmas celebrations, And one side of the family was, church going. And so we had to go to church on Christmas Day, so we got that end of it too. The other side of the family was more like food church. So you got fed, you got more food than you ever needed there, but you celebrated in several different places. And then kind of oddly, a lot of times it would end with going to work with my mom because she was the director of a volunteer ambulance service in the Houston area. And it was hard to get people to sign up on days like Christmas Day. And so she would, be the one out on the ambulance. She was a paramedic. She is a paramedic. And so we would, spend time there as well. And, for a kid, you're okay with that as long as you've got the stuff that you just opened and all of that and you're busy with that. But I think it taught me too about, somebody's got to do it, and you still have responsibilities and there's service to other people. And I don't think I really got it in the moment, but looking back on it, I got it. Like I saw my mom live by example, and she was doing things to help other people who were not having their finest hour on a holiday when she would have, probably much preferred to be at home with the family.
One other tradition that just popped to mind, I'll make this real fast. Every New Year's Eve, as everyone's watching the ball drop, we go down to the kitchen and grab pots and pans and wait for it to hit midnight. Then we rush outside on the front porch and just start banging the pots and pans and making noise and telling everybody Happy New Year until we hear gunshots, then we run back inside.
Always run when you hear that. That's a good one. And I have one more holiday tradition that I just started last year, but I'm doing it again this year. And since we're talking about all these calories that we're taking in, there is this bike ride that happens in the park cities where you see all the homes lit up and everything, and it's this enormous group of people, and they totally deck out their bikes with lights and all that. They dress up. And so I do that now too, where you'll put up a light up hat or whatever, and you wear a Christmas shirt or whatever. And I brought my Christmas shirt. Do y'all want to see it?
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was.
This is my shirt for my new tradition for my holiday bike rides. I don't know why I like this thing so much. It just cracked me up. It's so simple. It's such simple humor.
Oh, snap.
It's oh snap, and the little gingerbread man's hand has fallen off. I mean, I saw this at Walmart, and I couldn't quit laughing. I usually don't laugh at like simple humor like that. And my wife was like, "What is so funny about that?" I go, "I don't know. It's just it cracks me up." And every time I put that thing on, I just laugh. I mean, it just cracks me up.
It snaps you up.
Wait,
It snaps me up.
I love
where
the
do
dad
you guys
t-shirts.
ride?
It's in the Park Cities, and you all meet up at this bike shop there, and it's just sort of this ragtag group of people. Everybody just shows up, and it's, I mean, scores of people, and there's people, trying to block traffic and whatever so that everybody's safe about it.
Right.
But you go at night, you got lights on your bike and all of that, and you just take in the sights and the sounds.
That's
and
awesome.
It's really cool. With a bunch of strangers, and some people are playing Christmas music.
Okay.
If I may add before we move to the next prompt, because you brought up New Year's, whether I fly to New Jersey, she flies to Texas, FaceTime, phone, I always make sure my mother is my New Year's kiss.
Aww. Wow.
I know.
Nice.
Mom is number one.
Good daughter.
Thank you.
You know what I
Why
get?
you guys make me want to have kids now? I'm like, oh my god.
Pressure's on.
I'm like, oh god. Sounds so fun.
You guys ever hear this New Year's tradition that the first person who walks through the house has to be a man and also has to have money in his pocket?
I have heard this, I think. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know about. I mean, for us, it doesn't have to be a man, but they have to come in with their right foot first.
That's interesting.
Walking into the house.
I tell you, the ladies in my family, my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, they always made sure that all the boys had at least $1 in their pocket. They planted in there so that when we came through the door, we'd have good luck.
And that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Love that.
We'll always take an extra dollar too.
I never have cash.
I never
would
have
totally
cash.
fail that test. We'd all have bad luck.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Damon, you brought up a really good point. When I saw that prompt, the first thing I thought of is the holidays are a very hard time for a lot of folks who are grieving, and obviously that includes a lot of our viewers. So my prayer for them is just that they're able to find comfort in the memories and enjoy the memories they've made over the years around the Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's table.
I have two things that I hope our audience recognizes, and one thing is this: enjoy the moment, right? When your kids are opening presents, when your loved one's opening a present, enjoy that moment. Don't see it through a lens. Don't feel like you need to take a picture of everything. The best memories are the ones that are captured right here. And the second thing is sort of nuanced, but don't give your kid don't tell your kid that Santa gave him a $500 gift, because that gift ultimately gets told about in school that Santa gave their child a $500 gift when you realize the income disparities that happen in our world.
My wish for you all this season is that you find ways to have memorable moments, savor them, and enjoy each other.
I think my wish for everyone is, we hear this 3-letter word, joy, around the holiday season, and I see so much lack of joy, and all year, but particularly in this season, and I'm not kidding you, and I don't think it was any fault of my own. I've been flipped off 2 times in just the past week. Yeah. People are rushing around, they're getting gifts, they've got stress, they've got, they're trying to get through with work before they have time off, whatever, and there's a lot of anger, there's just so much anger out there, and we know that, there's, a lot of politics being brought up at the table, and, family members. I know people who, they're not spending it with their family anymore because the politics got in the way there at the table. So I think my wish for everybody is just slow down. Just slow down and have some joy. Try to focus in on this time of year being happy. And who knows, maybe if you get back to just that simple way of trying to be happy and nicer to other people, maybe you carry it into a new year. Maybe it becomes who you are again, because I just think there's just too much anger.